Alright, we're working on the 2005 Yamaha YFZ450 today. If you guys didn't watch the previous videos on this thing, I picked this thing up for a very good deal, $1,100, and the only issue it had at the time was it was not running and it was not shifting. So it wasn't shifting into second, third, or fourth gear. And last video we found out the issue. It was the shift drum. A little pin came off and wasn't allowing it to shift. So we split the cases and fixed that. And then last video we put it back together and did the first startup. So it runs good, really good. Idle's perfect, but the pipe right here, the first 6 inches of the pipe glows red after about like 3 minutes of idling. So I don't know what's going on there. I read some forums. They said it was pretty standard to do that, especially with an aftermarket header pipe, which this is. You can see the stock one does not have this, where it's got the springs. So it's definitely aftermarket. They just said that the metal right here is very thin. But if it comes past this point right here, that means you're running too lean. I ended up checking the spark plug because I was afraid I was running too lean. And spark plug looks pretty black actually, so it's almost running rich, if anything. But that was before I rebuilt it. So we are going to replace the spark plug today. This thing takes a, what kind of plug is this? NGK CR8E plug. We'll put the plug in there, start it up, and see if it turns brown. And then I looked at the jets thinking it was too lean, but the jets were perfect. And they were actually bigger jets than stock because this thing is a big bore. It's about 3 millimeters over bore. There are bigger jets in it to accommodate for the big bore and the pipe. You can see we've got the aftermarket pipe. We're probably going to take it for the first test drive and just kind of test it out to see if it gets too hot. A couple other things I want to check in the video today is the fan. I want to see if the fan turns on. And then we've got a brand new battery for it as well. So I picked up a brand new battery and an oil filter just because I can't remember if I replaced the oil filter. So we've got a brand new spark plug right here, a brand new oil filter right here from CH6097. That's the only one at Fleet Farm that worked for this. I looked for K&N, but they didn't have one. And then here's the brand new battery over here for it. This thing was like, I think $45. This is the battery for it. Right here, 12 volt, 6.5 amp hours, and 85 cold cranking amps right there. And then it's kind of a weird shaped battery, very skinny and thin. But we're gonna put that on today because the other one that came with it was just junk. So let's get this thing filled up and charging, and then we'll start working on the rest of the bike. All right, let's get this battery filled up here. The acid out, take off the sticker, open this guy up. Ooh, that's not good. That one was already kind of open. Looks like it was already leaking out of there. Alright, we're gonna dump this guy in here. And we are off. A couple people said to poke holes in it and it goes faster, so we'll try that. Supposedly that makes it go faster. Oh yeah. That's way faster. Usually these take forever to drain. Now we've got the little bolts for it as well. So while we're charging that up, we're going to be working on the oil filter. I just want to check and see if the old one was replaced. I can't remember if I replaced it or not. Alright, let's see if I replace this at some point. This is what happens when you work on too many projects at the same time. I think I replaced it, I'm pretty sure. I should dump out oil here. See how thick that is. I don't think I replaced this one. Doesn't look too bad, but we will replace that. Here's the old one, here's the new one. Seem to be the same. That's good. This thing goes onto here like that. And that side goes into there. Alright, oil filter is replaced. That should be all good to go. Alright, now I want to make sure the fan is working. So we're going to hook up 12 volts to the fan and see if that turns on. So these are the wires going to the fan. A blue and it looks like a black one. We'll hook up one to the blue little alligator clip and then one to the black. It doesn't matter which way you put these, because if you reverse the negative and positive, it will just run backwards. So let's take a look at the fan now and see if that moves. Now I'm just going to touch it with this and see what happens here. You can see it turn on. So the fan definitely works. Alright, that works. Alright, we're going to get this spark plug out of here and replace it with a new one. One more check on this one before we replace it. You can see the tip is black on the old one. Guy up. You can see CR8E, same plug. These plugs are a little bit more expensive. I think it was like $5. Typically spark plugs are like $3. So kind of a specialty plug here. Let's see if we can get that out. There we go. Alright, let's install that next. Alright, let's try to start this thing up and see what that spark plug looks like after. Alright, we got the brand new battery in there. Let's see if she can start up now. Should have the correct cranking amps, I would think. keep an eye on that pipe. Pipe was getting pretty hot there, but didn't look like it was coming past the point over here, so I mean, that was probably fine. We're gonna check the spark plug now and see where that's at. Hopefully it's brown. It ran long enough to get a color. This is just idling color. We didn't ride it or anything, obviously. So this is just pretty much for the pilot. Plug is still pretty white here. See, plug is still white at the tip. Probably didn't run long enough to change color. You can see it turning a little bit brown at the tip here. But yeah, I don't think it ran long enough to change color. So we'll continue to test her out and see if we can get her to turn brown, or if it stays white, that means it's way too lean. Alright, so the fan turned on after revving it when it was idling. So, oh, there it goes, turns off. So let's check the plug now, but definitely got hot enough to where the fan needed to turn on. So that's probably not good if it's just idling there and it gets that hot. Alright, plug is still white. So I think it might be running lean. It's gotta be, unless there's like an air leak in the carburetor somewhere. Alright, we're running it with the pipe off right now. So I decided to take off the silencer, and sure enough, the pipe didn't glow red anymore and it didn't overheat. The fan still did come on once in a while, but then turned back off, came back on, turned back off. So it wasn't getting as hot as it usually did, and then the coolant wasn't boiling like it usually does. So something with the pipe is going on. Let's just see if the coolant's hot still. Yeah, that's still hot. I don't think it should be that hot. Just idling like that. That's crazy. Alright, so I think we fixed it. I checked the plug again after running it for like an hour and it was still white. So I'm like, okay, it has to be lean at idle. So what I did, because it didn't have a bigger pilot, which the pilot should be big enough. It's a 52. And I think stock is like 40. So it's way up from stock. But what I did was turn the fuel screw out to 4.5 turns, and it didn't glow red at all. So I think we're good. I let it run for about 30 minutes, just straight idling. The fan didn't turn on, and it didn't glow red. So I think we were just lean on the pilot, like probably like really lean. But it was 3 turns out, so I just turned it 1.5 more, and that seemed to fix it. So I'm not really sure what happened, but without the pipe, it was better. And then I put the pipe back on, put it 1.5 turns out, and that seemed to fix it. So, but anyway, the other problem we had was the battery. The battery still doesn't have enough cranking amps to turn this thing over, unfortunately. So you can see, turn it on right now, and it just does not have enough juice. And it just clicks. We'll probably get a bigger battery if we can and try to fit that in there. Might have to custom make something for it. Not too sure. But let's go take her for a ride. We're gonna have to bring the jumper with, jump it, but we can go test drive it and see how she does. All right, we got the plastics on it, looking pretty good. A little walk around here. All complete now. The only thing that we don't have is the latch for the seat. I'll have to order one up, but you can see it's broken off right there. So usually it has like a lever right here that you push down. So hopefully we can get a new one. If not, we'll have to make something. But yeah, it's coming along. So I just started up today, and I think I figured out why the battery's not working and why we've got like a current drain. So I started up and we're only getting 12 volts to the battery, so it's definitely not charging it up. All right, here we go. We're gonna start her up. You can see 12.8. That should be over 14 volts to charge the battery. I'll turn the lights off now. No change, so stator is definitely shot. Not working at all. So as you can see, stator is not charging this battery at all, and I'm pretty sure it's grounding out to the inside of the engine. So we'll definitely have to order one of those up, and I think that will solve our issue. Let's go take this thing for a little rip in the snow and see how she does. Hopefully she doesn't overheat. I think we solved that problem. All right, made her out here. I ended up taking apart the stator side cover and checking out the stator just to see if I could quick fix it. And looks like the stator's fine, which doesn't really make sense. I looked at some of the forums and they said that you had to have the lights on or a resistor kit for the lights if you don't have lights. So I think we're missing that. So that's probably why it's not charging. But I did find, however, that the starter might be bad, because the wire going to the starter, when I move that, it cranks over just fine. But yeah, I think the starter's going. That's why it's cranking over slow with the battery. Alright, she's warming up right now. See how long this lasts. You can see I had to kind of mess with the starter a little bit to get this thing to start, which is a pain in the butt. Alright, let's see if she goes. going pretty good so far. Oh, that's deep. Doesn't like that. Ah. Thing is fast. Tons of power on this thing. Oh, jeez. Oh, of course she doesn't want to start back up. Lots of snow. Look how deep this stuff is, though. It's like a foot right here. It's crazy. But she shut off for some reason. Pipe doesn't look red, so that's good. So far, so good. I'm gonna try to wiggle that starter a little bit and see if we can get the thing to start up. It's very finicky, so at least we know it's to start, though. Huh. Alright, we're gonna have to get the jumper again. Oh, dang it. Oh, come on. Alright, we've got the YFZ back in the garage here. This thing's kind of reminding me of that one over there. That problem right there. But, I think we finally got it. So, as you guys know, we had this thing out at my parents' house, and you could see it was just not turning over fast enough. And it was doing some weird stuff. It would randomly smoke from the solenoid, like something was hitting the frame. It was really, really weird. So I took everything apart and tested everything. So I took the whole quad apart, I tested the starter, took the starter out, which is right there, and hooked up that to ground and then positive. And that spun freely, perfect, no problems there. So I put that back in, and I'm like, okay, let's try a different battery. So I plugged in a different battery. That didn't work either. So I'm like, what the heck? You know, something must be draining something from it, or maybe the valves were tight. So I checked the valves and I reshimmed the valves to be like literally perfect. And still spun over really, really slow. I'm like, okay, what the heck could it be? I hooked up a jumper to the battery and it still spun slow. So I'm like, okay, it's gotta be something. I checked every single wire on this thing. I unplugged every single connection in the wiring harness and went through literally every single piece of wire. Took the wires off from the ignition right here, cleaned those, and then it still spun slow. So I was like, okay, it's gotta be something that I have not checked yet. So the last thing I checked was this. On-off kill switch right here, and the lights. For some reason, there must have been a short in here. I took it apart, there's some rust in there, I sprayed some WD-40, put it back on, moved all these connections like this, and the start button, and I was pushing them all, and put it back together, and put the battery pack on it right there, that small one, and it fired up instantly. So there must have been a short in the control unit right here. So I don't know. That's a bummer. I went through the whole thing and that was the problem. All right, let's see if it still works. Here we go. Yep, that's crazy. Such a bummer. So that was the problem all along. So if I learned anything, I would probably start with the easiest stuff first, and I would check the on-off switch for rust or corrosion. Oh, and also a little update after the ride. I checked the spark plug today as well, and it was nice and dark brown. So, if anything, we're running rich again. All right, test drive number 2. We'll see if today's ride goes a little bit better. We got a brand new battery in it with, I think it's like triple the cranking amps on it. So, we will see. And I looked up the charging problem on these things. You need like a special voltage regulator resistor for the 2004 and 2005. In 2006 they added it in, but if you want to run with no headlights you need that resistor rectifier thing, which I cannot find anywhere. So yeah, right now it's not charging the battery. There we go. This thing is fast. What a beast. Leaking coolant out the back. That's not good. You can see it's dripping coolant out. What the heck? Fan's not on. Why is it dripping coolant? Look at that. I wonder if the head gas is blown. That might be a head gasket issue. By the way, it's negative 17 degrees out right now, so it's a little chilly. We'll take that off and see if it's... Ooh, there's definitely air in there. Definitely pressure built up. So we'll try starting it and see if air bubbles are coming out. I see some bubbles in the coolant. Let's see when we hit the throttle here. Yeah, there's definitely pressure being built up. You can see it's all foamy, so there's definitely bubbles in there. Look at how foamy that is. So it looks like it is a bad head gasket. It's gotta be. So, well, that'll be it for today. We have to replace that head gasket, and then I want to check and see if the exhaust cam has the decompression mechanism stuck or something, because it should turn over with that brand new battery. Even with the high compression piston, it still should turn over with that battery. But stay tuned for next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Till next time, we are out.